Hello, and welcome back to Let's Play Ultima 6, The False Prophet. In our last episode, the Avatar and his companions had traveled to the town of Moonglow, the town of Honesty, the town of the Mages, in order to visit the Lyceum, the library and storehouse of Britannian knowledge. They went there because, as you may remember, our friend Yolo had picked up this book here when rescuing the Avatar at the very beginning of the game. The book was full of a strange language, another language, strange letters. Nystel had recommended that we travel here to the Lyceum to speak with Mariah of the Great Council of Mages, that she might be able to shed some light on it. You know, she does some work with languages. Well, we came all the way here, we spoke with Mariah, and she was able to help us a little bit. She had here a silver tablet, if you look here. Thought us see a silver fragment, which was able to help her with translating the gargoyle language. Unfortunately, the tablet is incomplete. You can see it's only part of it. It's broken. Without that other half of the tablet, she wasn't able to do more than translate a tiny amount of the writing, but enough to say something about the end of our world. Now, the Avatar is no stranger to world-ending threats. Evil mages apprentices, evil mages and evil mages apprentices' offspring, dark shadow lords of pure evil. So the Avatar knows that when a threat to the world comes, it's time to give that a little bit of priority. Obviously, this gargoyle invasion is about more than territory. It's about more than just capturing the shrines. This is a threat to the very world itself, and we need to find out what this book says. We need to find out what this threat is and how to stop it. To that end, it looks like our next step is to try to find out where the other half of this tablet is. Mariah said that she got it from some gypsies. Now, we spoke with those gypsies outside of the town of Britain earlier, and it looks like they may have the other half of the tablet, or if not, they know where the tablet came from. They may be able to direct us in the right direction. So that's our next step. We need to find that other tablet, get this book translated, and meet this threat head on. It's time to stop being reactive and being proactive. Before we go, let's go ahead and talk to some of these people in Moonglow. Talking to the mages always lends insight. You see a busy-looking man wearing a blue robe. So many books to keep organized. It's a wonder I have any time for my own studies. Can I help you with something? I am Thariond of the Blue Star. Ah, probably because of that star up on his head. All the students of Nicodemus bear this sign. Nicodemus? He lives southeast of you. Somebody there should be able to give you directions. Ah, if you remember, there was that enchanter who lived in that house, protected by magic fields that we weren't able to get in because we didn't yet have the Dispel field spell. The spell we bought in our last episode. That must be Nicodemus. If we go there, we'll be able to finally meet this mysterious guy who apparently is the mentor of many other mages, all of whom wear tattoos on their heads. Huh. What's your job, sir? I'm the librarian. I prefer to spend my time studying magic, but I'll help you find some books if you keep it quick. Magic? Were I to master all the arcane lore contained within these volumes, I'd be the greatest sorcerer of all time. Of course, finding all the right books is no small task. You gotta tell me about these books. Were you interested in fiction, nonfiction, or reference? Fiction. In that category, I can recommend The Caverns of Freytag, Around the World in a Washtub, The Wizard of Oz. Is there anything else you wanted to find? Well, if you remember, Lord British was looking for the book The Wizard of Oz. If we can find that book, we should bring it back to him. That'd be a nice thing to do. Let's look at the nonfiction. Mating Rituals of the Northern Plains Centaur, Of Dreams and Visions, The Lost Art of Ballooning, Summoning Incubi for Fun and Profit. Lastly, there's the reference section. Dilzal's Almanac of Good Advice, Purlywig's Universal Compendium of Knowledge, and the Lost Book of Mantras. You should have no trouble finding what you want once you have the call number. You do understand how our books are organized, don't you? Actually, no. Well then, I suggest you look it up in the Beginner's Guide to the Dewey Decimal System. It's call number T170035R16RL.5V43. Oh, I'm sorry, I just remembered. That book was checked out last week. Try coming back for it later. So, let's ask him if he knows anything about the Shrine of Honesty. We have a book that tells the history of the shrines. If only I could remember the title. Remember, any books you take out of here are due back before the next bipolar lunar conjunction. Alright, we're going to go ahead and continue on our way. To the west and then to the north, the path goes back up, and that's where Zhao lives. So we're going to continue moving to the east. This must be some mage's house. A lot of powder kegs there. Unfortunately, there's no way to get past this grating, but powder kegs are always useful for getting into hard-to-open doors sometimes. In a real pinch, you can even use it as a weapon, put it next to an enemy and ignite it. But you have to be pretty desperate to do that. You see a stern, severe man in white robes. You interrupt the man from his research. Yes, yes, what is it? You've come for healing, I suppose. Ah, he must be a healer. I am Dargoth, master of medical lore. Well, in your job, Dargoth? My true calling is research. My studies here have advanced healing art throughout the world, but more often than not I am called upon to cure poison ivy and heal paper cuts. I grow weary of such trifles. Well, if you want a real challenge, you could always join a party of adventurers. Come, get to the point. I'm a busy man. Obviously, he can't join us. Oh well, we don't need healing right now, so goodbye. Stay out of trouble. I don't want to see my fine workmanship wasted. Alright then. Let's continue on the way here. Follow this path. Ah, a house. Magically locked. This looks like a job for the Avatar. Go ahead and ready our spellbook, and we're going to cast Unlock Magic. Success. Oh my, there appears to be blood everywhere. Everybody, you wait out here. Don't contaminate the crime scene. Thou dost see blood. But there's nothing really to find here. If I move everything, there's nothing in the drawers, it looks like. Yep. Weird. This appears to have been the site of violence at one time. Maybe we'll find out more later. House for sale. Of course it is. You know, in this market, I don't know how much they're going to get for a house like that that's been in the middle of a murder or whatever it was. I'll cross over this little river here. A lot of books. And a telescope must be another mage's house. The mages are all about studying the limits of magic, the movements of the heavens. And yeah, this mage is sleeping. He probably does spend most of his time awake at night if he is really studying the heavens. We'll come back to him in just a little bit. Let's continue south and talk to some people who are still awake. Now, if you're following along on your map, you'll know there's the Verity Isles the main island is rather big. The Lyceum takes up the northern part of the island, and the whole town pretty much sprawls across the whole thing. Here's where the Moonstone would have been if the gargoyles hadn't completely stolen all of them. Here's another house. Oh my. A sleep field. A fire field. A poison field. A protection field. Somebody does not want to be disturbed, and we'll hold off on going in there. Somebody's home. This looks like it must be the mayor's house based on the way it's designed. It seemed to always have those flags. Everybody seems to be out and about, though. They're not in their houses. Ah, but here's a tavern, and you can always find people in a tavern. You see a pipe-smoking gentleman with a symbol of the Codex tattooed on his forehead. Greetings to you, my lord. My name is Monroe. Ah, what's your job, Monroe? I'm a woodworker. I also dabble in alchemy from time to time. I make furniture, cabinets, walking sticks, and the like. Perhaps I can make something for you someday. And you also say you're alchemy. I'm trying to learn how to make healing potions, but I don't have the formula right yet. I did stumble across a wicked recipe for red mead, though. Alas, there's little call for my brew in this town, with the blue bottle serving Fraser's Folly. A fine establishment. I'm guessing that's the name of where we are right now. And Folly? One of the finest libations you'll find anywhere. Libation or liability. Take your pick. So I have to ask, talk to me about this tattoo on your head. I went drinking with some friends the night we heard of the discovery of the Codex. When I woke up the next morning, I had this tattoo. All right then. It was a pleasure speaking with you. You see a man who looks very amused, whether with his surroundings or himself is hard to say. Ah, welcome, my lord. Come have a drink with me. Have you had your fortune told yet? Can't say I have. Some people think Penumbra's a hoax, but she knows her stuff. You should bear with her. She can truly be of great assistance to you. All right, then. You said we're going to have a drink? Aye, this is the home of Fraser's Folly. In all the towns of Britannia, you'll find no better brew. Seems to be a very popular drink around here. What is this guy's name? Garrulous. And what was yours again? I am Attentive. Oops. I should learn how to spell here. Attentive. Oh, yes, of course. Come have a seat. What was your job? Trying to discover all the subtleties of Fraser's Folly is almost a career in itself. He smiles. So you were talking about Penumbra. She's a strange one, but she has the gift. And what about the guy next to you, Monroe? My drinking buddy! Let's drink a toast to him wherever he is. I'll drink to that. Leaving already? And you're not even wobbling yet. You see a gentleman with an air of leadership around him. Thou art the Avatar. I saw thy portrait in Lord British's castle. If there be any assistance I can offer, thou needst but ask it. Oh, what's your name? I am Lord Aganar of Moonglow. Verily, 'tis a fine town. Hast thou ever thought of moving here? Sure, from time to time. Thou wouldst not regret it. There's good fishing off our shores, and plenty of merriment to be found over at the Blue Bottle. Fishing? Aye, indeed. And the Blue Bottle, where we are right now? Thou wilt see much drinking at the Blue Bottle Tavern, and singing and revelry, and telling of tales. But mostly drinking. If thou art curious, why not go pay a visit? Thou cannot miss it. 'Tis the biggest building in town. Well, since this is the mayor, we have to ask the traditional questions. Let's talk about the shrines. 'Tis north of here, on Dagger Isle. And let's ask him about, well, let's talk about Dagger Isle. Aye, just a ways to the north. Ask him about the rune. I had it once, but I entrusted it to Bavin's care, as he is the most honest man I know. He lives with Penumbra. Ah, that Penumbra, we just heard about her. I can imagine what Bavin sees in her. Haven't seen him around lately. Penumbra should be able to tell you where to find him. Okay, so we definitely have to meet this Penumbra and ask her about Bavin. Anything about the mantra? Penumbra might be able to help you with that. Okay, so we definitely have to meet Penumbra now. Alright. Until next we meet then. Let's talk to the tavern keeper here. You see a short, congenial fellow. Welcome to the Blue Bottle Tavern. I'm Rob Fraser. And once again, it's a gentleman who exists in real life, who Lord British put into the game because he knew him. There is a Robert Simon Fraser. That name is listed in the guards list for the Society for Creative Anachronism, again, which Lord British was a member of. The SCA accounts mention both a Blue Bottle Tavern and Fraser's Folly with regards to him, and that's where these things came from that were put into the game. They're kind of little Easter eggs. His job, he sells us mead, wine, bread, baked brie, and the house brew, Fraser's Folly. I brew Fraser's Folly myself. 'Tis a very popular ale hereabouts, and we could buy it if we wanted to. See you later. Alright, so we need to go meet this Penumbra. And unfortunately, or fortunately, it looks like... Well, here's the only house we haven't really explored, so let's back up here. We're going to go ahead and cast our new spell, Dispel Field, and see if it works. Success! Perfect. Success again. Continued success. The avatar is unstoppable. Alright. Before we walk through here, I want to point something out. Notice how the way the companions of the avatar always arrange themselves in this formation. We don't want to be walking through the... We could dispel all of these magical fields, but that would use up quite a few reagents and a lot of magic points. But walking through, we have the potential that our friends are going to, by spreading out, walk right in the middle of magic fields. So instead, we're going to go into solo mode and walk through by ourselves. One at a time, we're going to go ahead and enter into this person's house. Slowly and carefully. Lastly, but not least, Sherry timidly makes her way through, not knowing what in the world they've gotten her into. Go ahead and move all our coins back to the avatar here. You see a small, inscrutable woman cloaked in shadows. Ah, hello, Avatar. I was wondering when you would get here. And your name? I am the one known as Penumbra. And once again, a real-life person. Penumbra is based on Manda D. Manda D was an artist and a writer for many Origin games, including Ultima 6, and both Worlds of Ultima titles, The Savage Empire and Martian Dreams. And she's still an active, participant in Ultima Dragons fan groups and such. This is her put into the game. She's also a very major character in the next game in the series, Ultima 7, but I'll stop there because of spoilers. Penumbra. I am the daughter of the Eclipse, and I am a fortune teller. Yes, I can foretell your future for you. I require a small donation for my services. Well, Garrulous told us that she does know what she's talking about, so let's go ahead and give her some money. She holds out her hands, out on either side of her crystal ball, not quite touching it, and closes her eyes. After a time, she speaks. The future looks dark. All is unclear. Some more gold would shed further light on your destiny. Alright, we'll give her another coin. The wall is dark. I see a light at the end of the tunnel. Quickly, more coins before I lose the thread of this vision. Much conflict lies before you. Your end... I cannot see it. More gold is needed. You shall travel throughout the land before you are through. A few more coins and all should be clear. About this time, the Avatar and the companions are probably wondering if this is actually worth it, because nothing she's saying is any different from what we would be expecting from this quest. You will journey into the depths of the earth. Strange creatures will you face. I can almost see the end now. Again, nothing particularly helpful here. You and your companions will face terrible choices. You will need powerful magic to prevail. Wait, there is some barrier before me. Give me just one more coin and I think I can break through it. Yes, now all is made clear to me. I see a great vortex. There is a violet lens that is crucial to your quest. It is broken and must be made whole. But one lens is not enough. A blue lens is needed as well. You must have 2 lenses, else all is for naught. She opens her eyes. I can see no more for now. Leave me, that I might rest. Well, that was surprisingly specific. So we are going to need 2 lenses in order to complete our quest. A violet lens and a blue lens. And the violet lens is broken and must be repaired. That's troubling, but hopeful. At least that means that there's definitely a way through this. We just have to find these lenses. I don't know what they're used for. Or why? Before we leave, let's ask her about that rune. I see you have yet to fulfill your destiny. So we have to talk to you about Baven. Yes, he was a terribly honest fellow. Alas, though, he lacked the virtue of tact. He told the truth once too often, and those he spoke of did not appreciate it. He's buried in the catacombs under Moonglow now, pushing up daffodils. Even virtue has its price. He's dead? So about honesty? Yes, she can tell us both the rune and the mantra. You said he's pushing up daffodils? Yes, daffodils. This is really bad news, because we need that rune. 'Twas buried with Baven, rest his shade. Well, bother, that's the last thing we wanted to hear. Can we at least get the mantra from you? For 5 gold coins, I can use my powers to divine the mantra for you. Shall I do this? Absolutely. She closes her eyes in concentration. For long minutes you wait. What are we waiting for? Whispers Dupre. She's doubtless fallen asleep, and you've wasted good money for nothing. Finally, Penumbra opens her eyes again. The word you seek is Am. Thank you, Penumbra. Your destiny awaits. So we have the mantra of honesty. Let's go ahead and be very careful getting out of here. We have the mantra. We know where the shrine is. But the rune has been buried with a dead man. We're gonna have to go grave robbing. I'm not sure if that's particularly virtuous, but the fate of the realm, and very possibly the fate of the entire world, is at stake. Sometimes sacrifices have to be made, I guess. Before we go grave robbing, let's go ahead and go back to this other mage's house who was asleep and see if he's woken up yet. It's almost sundown. Ah, there he is. Let's go ahead and talk to him real fast. You see a solemn man constantly dusting and polishing the items in his shop. Ahem, yes. What can I help you with, sir? Well, what's your name, sir? I am Ephemerides. Ephemerides, alright. I am an astronomer. More precisely, I calculate movements of the stars, phases of the moons. My field of specialization is tidal predictions. I also make various glassware and instruments. Well, tell them about the moons. I plan to publish a paper about how the world is flat, to dispel all this foolish talk to the contrary. Afterwards, I will construct a model of how it all works, an orrery. As you might remember from our last episode, I pointed out that in Ultima 6, unlike in any other Ultima game, yes, the world is flat. Pleased with your interest, Ephemerides shows you papers with plans for a clockwork model of the Caesarian system. This, flat piece is Britannia. Each moon would exert a pull on the oceans, thus resulting in the tides. You turn that little handle there to get it to go. The normally staid Ephemerides is practically giggling with glee. You know, I always heard the world was round. Absurd! So he was saying that one of his specialties is tidal predictions. Lord British has requested the publication of an almanac for use by the general populace. It will contain high tides, low tides, ebb tides, flood tides, spring tides, and neap tides. Well, tell me about the spring tide. The opposite of a neap tide. The sun, earth, and moons are all aligned. Thus, lines of low and high tide are far apart. Once I construct my orrery, I'd be able to demonstrate the principles involved. What about the neap tide? Low and high tide marks are close together. The planets are in quadrature. Quadrature? Angular separation of two celestial bodies as measured from a third, being 90 degrees, of course. A very safe tide. Huh. Okay, then. Britannia's tides are a function of the two moons, Feluca and Trammel, interacting with our world, Sosaria. Very similar to the way that our tides work here back on Avatar's homeworld of Earth. So you said you make instruments. Yes, sextants mostly. Ah, we finally found the guy who sells sextants. Beautiful. Let's see if we can afford one. It'll cost you 30 gold for a sextant. Do you want one? Well, it just so happens we have exactly 30 gold left. He hands Attentive a sextant. Yes, what can I help you with, sir? You also mentioned you work on glassware. Lenses and the like. Lenses? We just were talking about lenses with Penumbra. I wonder if he knows anything about a violet lens. Or a blue lens? I figured that was too easy. What sort of lens do you want? A blue lens? No. Unfortunately, that's nothing that he can help us with right now. Although, you know, if we have a broken lens, I wonder if he'd be able to fix a lens. If we ever find this broken violet lens, we should come back and talk to him about it. Maybe it's something he can help us with. He is the only glassmaker we found so far. Goodbye, my lord. It was nice talking with you. Now we have the sextant, finally. I'm going to show you how it works really quickly here. This here is a sextant, and as I mentioned in the previous episode, if you have the Ultima 6 map, the cloth map, or if you can look it up, online, type in Ultima 6 map on Google or any other search engine of your choice. When we use the sextant, it tells us our coordinates based on the north-south axis and then the east-west axis. We are at 6 degrees south, 79 degrees east. If you look at your map, 00 is centered on Lord British's castle, so we are 6 degrees south of that. So pretty much near the middle of the map, and then 79 degrees east, out of about 90 degrees total, all the way as far as you can go. So we're pretty far east, but that gives you an idea of where you are. So when you're sailing and you're in the open ocean and don't have any landmarks, you know exactly, oh, okay, I need to keep going northwest to get where I'm going, or oh, I need to keep going this way. I'm willing to bet that this house here with the bloodstains was probably Baven's house. Alright, we're going to go ahead and head back up north to Zhao's house because there's something we want to find there. Ah. Now, in order to save time, I want to go ahead and do something here, not particularly virtuous. We stole a powder keg. And I'll explain why I did that in a little bit. For the most part, we do want to avoid stealing. We want to try to walk a virtuous path if we can, but sometimes, like Penumbra said, we're going to be faced with hard choices. We have to make difficult decisions at times, and sometimes that means acting in a slightly less than virtuous fashion. So here in Zhao's house, there's this locked door, magically locked. We're going to go ahead and open it. And right next to the house, right next to that door is this ladder leading down into the darkness below. Welcome to the dungeon view of Ultima 6. The sun and the moons have been replaced with this cave here. When you're underground, you don't know what time it is. Could be day, could be night. There's very little light. We can barely see ourselves, we can barely see beyond ourselves. Somebody needs to wield a torch. Yolo's going to go ahead and let go of his crossbow. Actually, sorry, let me change that. Luckily, a boomerang is a one-handed weapon. Using a torch takes up a hand. It has to be held. So somebody is using a two-handed weapon, such as Yolo here, would not be able to hold a torch and still wield his crossbow. Same thing, Shamana would have to put down one of his weapons. Dupre might have to put his shield down. The Avatar certainly could not wield his halberd. Because when you're in a dungeon, there's usually enemies to be found. You need to be able to see where you're going, and you've got to be able to use those torches. Now here in the catacombs, you notice there's lots of remains here buried in the walls. We can go ahead and take whatever is on those remains, and it doesn't ding us. It doesn't say we've been stealing. The people buried here don't need it, and it's not considered a moral wrong to grave rob. Even though in real life, it's usually looked down on. Disclaimer. Anyone who chooses to go grave robbing after watching this episode, we cannot be held legally responsible for your actions. Anyway. We're looking through these remains. We're trying to find where Baven was buried so we can find that Rune of Honesty. It's going to be kind of hard, though. None of these remains are marked in any way. It's just like searching for a needle through a haystack. The good news is, we used our last gold piece buying that Sextant. So anything we find here we can sell, and any of these gold nuggets that are on these bodies, we can go ahead and get minted into new coins. If you remember, the mint lets us do that for free. Because of the lady there who likes flirting with the Avatar. Uh-oh! One of the quintessential Ultima monsters. Headlesses. Begin combat. Not very strong, but they usually attack in force, and that will usually... They can do a lot of damage because they can swarm you. And it looks like this was accompanied by a skeleton. Victory. Let's go ahead and quickly loot these bodies. Ah, 31 gold coins. Headlesses tend to not go out without a little bit of money to have some fun on the town, it looks like. Oh, looks like Dupre's over encumbered. So Shamano's gonna have to start picking up weapons that we find to sell. Alright, continuing along our way here. Hopefully we don't run into too many more encounters like that, I mean. Although, then again, oh, we found... I just want to know who buries their loved ones with butter. Perhaps this guy was a dairy farmer. You know, I was gonna say I hope we don't have any more encounters like that, but then again, that was pretty profitable. Both in terms of getting experience, and we now have gold again. Whichever way you cut it, having to travel into the dungeons, get into a lot of fights, is almost an essential part of the hero's journey in any of the Ultima games. You've got to level up, and you've got to be able to get gold and needed equipment, and fighting enemies is usually the best way to do it. We're going to go ahead and not bother with leather boots. Dagger. Ah, there's a ladder. But it heads back up. Let's see where that takes us. It takes us nowhere. Luckily, we're all wearing swamp boots, or this ground here would be killing us. I don't want the spear, but the shield will be useful. Ah, there's a ladder, heading further down into the earth. Swamp boots are always useful. The more members of our party that we get, the more... Ooh! The more we need swamp boots. Glass swords are a item that show up a lot in the Ultima series. Incredibly powerful, some of the most powerful weapons in the game, but they can only be used once. You hit somebody with a glass sword, it might very well kill them, but the sword breaks immediately, because it's made out of glass. They're useful to have around. Oh, the Avatar is also getting too encumbered. Once we're done with all this adventuring, we'll have to do some inventory management. Oh, this is different. Here looks like there's actually some tombs. The Crypt of Cantrell. The Crypt of Spector. The Crypt of Malone. The Crypt of Janati. The Crypt of Baven. It looks like we found what we're looking for. With love from cousin Manrel. Oh, Manrel was related to Baven. Oh, that's too bad. It was his cousin. Well, let's go ahead and try to get in this door. YOLO has the lockpicks. Now, an easy way to get into any locked door in an Ultima game, if you have the spell, if you have the lock magic spell, you can cast magic lock the door magically, and then cast unlock magic, which is a much easier spell that you get much earlier in the game. We don't have lock magic yet, we only have unlock magic, so we can't do that. We have to resort to the good old lockpick. And the key broke. And there's no effect. And the key broke. This lock is beyond YOLO's ability to open. So there is a way out of here, though, out of this problem. And this is why I picked up that powder keg. Let's go ahead and move this letter out of the way. And we'll move these flowers. It would be a shame to have them get destroyed. Drop the powder keg in front of the door, and use the powder keg. Powder's lit. Run for your lives. And the door opens. And if anybody had been standing near it, they would have also been opened. And there's poor Baven, or at least what's left of him. Thou dost see a pile of bones that weighs 16.4 stones. Searching here, you find 1 gold nugget, 1 gem, and the Rune of Honesty. It's an unfortunate circumstance, but we have the rune. We'll go ahead and move that into our quest bag. YOLO, go ahead and grab that gem. He doesn't need it anymore. And the Avatar will go ahead and grab that gold nugget. Now, even though we were destructive people, we ruined this guy's tomb. Go ahead and put everything back the way we found it. We had to do what we had to do, but that doesn't mean we have to be jerks about it. Alright, we're going to go ahead and head back up to the surface now. Now, the reason I walked around in a circle there, I wanted to see if something would happen so I could show it to you, but it didn't, so don't worry about it. Down in these catacombs, as you already saw, there's random enemy encounters sometimes. You know, headlesses spawn, ghosts. You might have seen while we were busy blowing up the door, it said something about a ghost being wounded. The ghost was either inside the tomb and got hurt by the explosion of the powder keg, or might have been in a battle with other enemies, because the NPCs sometimes fight each other. Oop, torch burned out. What I was going to show you is that a lot of times in this tomb, enemies appear, swashbucklers and guards, and they'll all attack you. And although they're difficult enemies to defeat, you can often get good equipment from defeating them. What you don't get good equipment from defeating, though, are what these are up above us. Thou dost see an acid slug. Acid slugs are like slimes. They multiply, but they also, unfortunately, will destroy your equipment if you get too close. They have the ability to eat your weapons and armor. So we're going to flee for our lives. Uh-oh. Looks like we're going to have to fight after all. And we were able to kill it, luckily. One is usually not too much of a threat, but when you see a group of acid slugs, you're best off not sticking around and testing your luck. Unlike slimes, which are weak enemies, but they do swarm and they do a lot of damage, but they're usually not a problem if you're persistent. Acid slugs are a nightmare for the weaker adventurers. Once you're stronger, you know, further along in the game, but we're still fairly early in the game. Alright, so we're making our way back to the ladder that leads back to the surface into safety, and here we are. We found success, we got the Rune of Honesty, but the Avatar and his companions feel a little dirty after having had to do all that, rob the tombs. We're gonna go ahead and rest until daytime. And as we woke up, apparently several gremlins were poisoned by something. Ah, gremlins are standing in the swamp. We're gonna have to fight them. Fortunately, gremlins are incredibly weak. But again, like slimes, you know, they can overwhelm you, just like Headless. Gremlins can also steal food, but since we don't have any, that's not too much of a concern. For some reason, the companions aren't following me. There we go. There we are. Our ship was left here next to Zhao's house, so we're going to go ahead and get back on our ship. Now, we were able to find the Rune of Honesty, but we still need to figure out what's up with this book. And as you remember, we were told that those gypsies were who Mariah got that original tablet from. So we're heading due west to head back to the town of Britain. Remember, Attentive, the Avatar, has that Sextant. We are at 2 degrees south and 56 degrees east. Looking at my map, I'm right on course to head back to the town of Britain now. I just have to head due west, maybe a little bit south to go around the edge of the coast at the entrance to Brittany Bay. In fact, yep, there we are. We're going to have to go around this all. But without that sextant, I'd be doing this more or less blind. And while it's possible to navigate just using the map and kind of guessing, having that sextant to be absolutely sure, aha, still 25 degrees east of the castle. Having that sextant to tell you how far you still have to go is a big help, because I can find out, okay, I'm still too far to the east of the castle, so I'm not actually in Brittany Bay yet. I want to make sure I didn't miss it. It makes the rest of the game a heck of a lot easier. Alright, we should be almost there. Okay, 6 degrees east. We need to head a little bit further north, though, now. Ah, there's a building. That must be part of the town of Britain. And there's the dock. See? That sextant makes it easy. Almost too easy. Alright, so we're going to quickly head over to the Mint. Let's quickly see if she will exchange our coins for us. If Terry will exchange these for us. There we go. Now we have 153 gold. That's pretty good from having no gold after buying the Sextant. Alright, let's go over to the tavern here. Ah, and unfortunately I don't see the gypsies. They must be elsewhere in the realm right now. I do know that sometimes they travel down to the town of Pause. Oops. Alright, before we quit for the day, we're going to really quickly head down there and see if we can find them. If we're lucky enough, we can find them before they move on again. As you remember, the town of Pause has its own docks that we passed last time we played. Last time when we first got the ship, when we first went down to Trinsic and went around to go to the island town of Jelam. Now, the town of Pause is located at about 10 degrees east and about 30 degrees south looking at my map here. So we're looking for 1030. So if I use my sextant, we're actually looking for 3010. Sorry, 30 degrees, 10 degrees. Okay, 18. We're almost far enough south. Almost there. Very close now, based on the coordinates here. And there's a building. That must be part of the town. So we'll slide over here, and hopefully we'll find what we're looking for. Unfortunately, they're not here either. Oh well, we'll head back to Britain, because we're going to have to sell some of our items, as well as go ahead and just kind of restage for the rest of our quest. We'll make that our next major step, is to find where those gypsies have gone. So before we end, we'll just head back to Britain and we'll go ahead and stop there for the day. Still have quite a ways north to go. Too far east, so let's head over more. There we go, there's that building again, so we're almost back where we got to be. And we're back in the town of Britain. Alright, we're going to head over to where the gypsies usually hang out, by the tavern, and we'll go ahead and stop there for the day, for the day. In our next episode, we're going to go ahead and go searching for these gypsies, try to find out where they are, and try to find that, see if we can find that tablet. We're going to ignore Finn. And try to find that silver tablet. If we can find that tablet, maybe we can come to a better understanding of what the gargoyles want. What's their end game? How do they plan to end the world? Or what does that even mean? And how do we stop it? So next time, that's going to be our goal, finding the silver tablet. I will see all of you next time.